here, but it's okay. Yo, what up, guys? This is episode 13 with Double Digit Angler, and we have a special guest today. And that special guest name is Don. I'm going to say Don Rocci because, he told everybody to pronounce his last name is Rossi, but I don't know, man. The way how it's spelled, I'm just like, I think it's Rocci. But let's bring him on right now. We're gonna be talking about like some of the untold stories, some of the raw stories that we don't get to tell you guys because, well, the story is never told, And there's not a. I don't want to be honest. I don't. I don't think there's a huge publication. There could be a huge publication on kayak fishing, kayak tournament fishing in the West Coast, but I'm not aware of it right now. So I think it's good to bring on these guests, not just right after they win a tournament or like, let's bring them on like maybe 6 months later and dive deeper into the story just because we don't get that publication or that awareness like MLF or Bassmaster does. So let's go ahead and bring them on. What up, Don?
What's up, Dom?
How's it going, man? How's your day? You already know kind of like what's going on with me. How's your day so far?
It's been pretty uneventful, Been getting over, being sick. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about that. Well, tell first let's introduce everybody, like give a quick summary who you are, where you're from, where you cut your teeth in bass fishing.
So yeah, I'm from the Bay Area. Live in San Jose.
Mhm.
Um, Started out fishing when I was in middle school. Actually, my parents. I didn't learn from my dad or anything like that. I didn't
Mhm.
have. My dad wasn't fishing. It was actually my neighbor that lived across the street from us. His dad was a outdoorsman. They went hunting and fishing and all that kind of stuff. And then went with them one time. Well, actually, sorry, my mom did take me fishing a couple times to like trout ponds and things like that. So that
Did you
was
actually catch? Did you catch some trout when you were there?
oh yeah, trout pond.
Oh, okay.
I don't even remember the first time I caught a fish. There was a picture of me when I was like 3 or 4 years old with a trout.
Oh, that's pretty early.
Yeah,
You
but
started off at an early age.
yeah,
Mhm.
but my mom, she didn't really know anything. It was just
Yeah.
a worm and a bobber type of deal.
Yeah, but was the tug a drug? When you, like, got bit by the trout, were you like, "Oh
Uh,
my
oh
gosh."
yeah, I'm sure I liked it back then.
Oh, you're okay.
But yeah, when I went out with my neighbor, uh, like I said, probably like fifth or sixth grade.
Mhm.
Um, and then after that, we would just ride our bikes to the lake. And you're from up here, right, Dom? Northern California.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
so what happened is, my dad found a job over at Silicon Valley, so we moved from San Diego to the Bay Area when I was in 6th grade, I think, 6th or 7th grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where I grew up in Pleasanton, California, was
Mhm.
there's a lake called Shadow Cliffs, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah, you
so
got that lightning trout, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
they planted those. But yeah, we would ride our bikes there like every weekend and go
Mhm.
fishing. When we didn't have school in the summertime, we would fish for catfish,
Yeah.
trout in the wintertime. And then they had pretty big bass in there, but they were hard to catch. We didn't really know what we were doing back then. So
Yeah. Is it
um,
ultra clear water
oh yeah, you can
like
see
Livermore, Del Val?
yeah like
Similar?
20 foot. You can see
Oh,
depth.
yeah.
Yeah,
Massive laydowns and big bluff walls or no?
I think the
No?
deepest point in that lake is like 65 feet,
Oh, okay.
but it
Dang.
gets pretty steep. It's an old quarry that they filled up, right?
Mm.
So I actually seen the biggest bass I've ever seen in that lake. It was probably north of 15 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, my friend ended up getting a job over there. He would let me take the boats out,
Yeah.
and so I went to the deepest part of the lake, and then I was seeing all these huge carp that were probably close to 20 pounds, and they were huge. And
Mhm.
I just seen another silhouette, and I thought it was a carp, but sure enough, it was a huge bass, and it saw me, and it just went straight down to the depths, and I didn't see it again. But
How deep?
uh, uh, I mean, like I said, in that area, it was like 65 feet. So when I
That was
saw it,
65. Okay.
yeah, it was suspended in probably like 20 foot of water when I saw it.
20 feet.
And
Okay.
and
That makes sense, dude. That makes sense. I'm gonna
yeah.
give a little bit of everybody in the crowd a little ASMR on real
There you go.
quick. Do you have any beer on you or Diet Coke or
I
something?
got a water with me today.
Oh, nice. Give him a little ASMR on the plastic bottle. There we go. There it is. All right, let's quickly shout out like some of the people that are in here. We're gonna pause your story real quick. We got Maxley in the house. Yo, we got Chris Cabral saying what's up, kayak ditch day. Don, we need to have a talk about like, are you 100% in terms of kayak ditch day? Are you gonna be one of the founders of kayak ditch day?
If you want me to take on that role, I'm down to do it,
All right.
Tom.
All right. Well, that's good news. We're gonna have to tell Yak and Zach. Yak and Zach is inside the chat room right now.
What up?
What up, Yak and Zach? We have Isaac, of course, the Mr. Consistent, always shows up whenever I'm at a lake. Shane Matos. Yo. Hey man, is it Yak Local in the house or is it Shane Matos in the house? But yeah, let's continue on. So you cut your teeth over in the Bay Area and the Shadow Cliff. So more East Bay.
Yeah, I mean that was close to our house, and
Okay.
that was like I said, I was in middle school.
Okay.
So yeah, and then we did that probably up until I was about seventh grade, seventh, eighth grade. I was fishing, that lake, and just kind of stopped when I got to high school, right? And then I had a float tube back then as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, tell me about like your first tournament, like
first
how you
tournament.
got into your first
Okay, yes.
tournament.
So well, that brings me back to like when I got my first kayak, right?
Yeah,
So
let's do that. Let's hear some of that story right there.
yeah, I mean, I was always like, I was still like interested in fishing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't do it. I never really kept up with my gear and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
I think it was in 2017. I needed another hobby. I'm a guy that likes to have hobbies,
Right.
So I gotta keep busy, and I had a girlfriend at the time, and I wasn't really doing anything. It was just going hanging out with her friends, and like I said, I didn't have a hobby to keep myself busy. So
All
anyway,
right.
I figured I'll get back into fishing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it would be a cheaper hobby because my other hobby was racing go-karts before that, and that was really expensive.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I figured I'd get another float tube. That's what I was initially going to do.
Yeah.
But then I started going on YouTube and seeing people fishing from kayaks, and I figured you can cover a lot more water doing that. And
Who was the first kayaker that you
uh,
pulled upon YouTube?
on YouTube. It was actually a guy from North Dakota, ND Yacker, I think it was.
The guy with the cool voiceover. Like his voice
Yeah,
is.
he has good audio.
He has good audio.
Good.
Welcome back to the channel. We're gonna be throwing the Whopper Plopper.
Well, he incorporates like the wilderness sounds as well. You can hear the birds chirping and all that kind of the water running, and he's always in the he's always in the rivers, fishing for big smallmouth. And he was thing that the lure that he always fished with was a spook, and you can get he got the good audio with the spook with the
yeah.
So yeah, that was the first kayak YouTuber that I found, and
so that was not like, because I know he's not on the he's not really on the competitive side. He's out there kind of like enjoing Mother Nature.
Yeah, and when I was thinking about getting the kayak, I wasn't thinking I was going to fish a tournament. I was like, I was figuring that was going to be the last thing I was going to be doing is fishing tournaments. I was just going to go out and have fun.
What was your first kayak, anyways?
It was so he had a Wilderness Systems, and it was a Tarpon 120, I think he had. But at that time, they had just come out with a radar model of kayak.
Okay.
And that was one that you can. It was like it was in between. It was small enough where you can paddle it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had you could buy it together with a pedal drive, um,
Okay.
or you could buy it separate. So I bought it separate, and I
Mm-hmm.
paddled for about a year.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Was it kind of a lot like BJZ fishing? What's his name? You know
Who's
who
it?
I'm talking about.
Bob?
Yeah, Bob Zang fishing. Yeah, yeah.
He paddled? I didn't know.
No, but like I mean, he could paddle because he's always parked on the bank and then
Oh yeah.
casting within like a feet of the bank.
I mean, I guess I went to excuse me. I went to a lake up here called Lexington Reservoir. It's
Yeah.
off the 17 over here in Los Gatos near San Jose.
Mm.
And excuse me if I'm clearing my throat, but
It's all
uh,
good, man.
uh,
Do you
and
want to
it
keep it a secret or no?
well, no,
Do you mind or what?
well, no, I don't care. Yeah, I'm getting over COVID, so
Yep. So guys, he got COVID.
yeah,
It's real, bro.
it is real. So yeah, it's a smaller reservoir up here, and basically, like I said, I paddled for a year over there, and
Mhm.
they have well, actually, that year they had we had lots of rains up here up north, so
Oh,
the
okay.
reservoir was all full, and it was a good time to be fishing it. And I actually
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was like prior to that.
Hmm.
Um, because it was, I'm sure the water level was way down before that year, but that year was actually a good year to be fishing that lake. So I kind of, you know,
You got
uh,
lucky. You kind
yeah,
of you were in the upswing of things
yeah, yeah.
before the downfall came. I
But
guess.
I would just kind of like beat the bank. I wouldn't fish
Yeah.
offshore or anything. I would just basically do a couple laps in that reservoir there.
What was your biggest bass from that lake?
Only like it was probably about an 18 incher, but it was only about 3 pounds.
Oh, it's
Uh,
like one of those skinny kind of fish, like long, skinny.
yeah, I had a bigger head on it, but
Oh, okay.
they've got some big spots in that lake. One of my buddies,
Um.
Tony, I think he caught a 4 pound spot of it from there.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, there there's a lot of bait. There's a lot of bait in that lake for sure. But I think those spots go down deep.
Yeah, for sure. And they move fast, I heard.
Yes.
So let's get into your downfall. Tell me how you felt. We're just gonna go dive really deep into it. So tell me how you felt about like going all the way up on we're talking about American Bass Delta of last year, and we're not talking about a recap. We're gonna be talking about like your deep feelings about it, what you've learned. Tell us like quick summary of the story on day 1 to day 2.
Yeah, that was actually the first day I met you, Tom. Remember
Yeah,
that?
I think you met me, but I think we always exchange DMs
Yeah, we were
on IG.
DMing. Yeah, we were
Yeah.
messaging each other a couple weeks before that, actually. And then you were on your way up here. You like, hey, where am I eating? You're making us guess on
Yeah,
IG.
yeah, yeah. For a bag of Senkos or something, right? Or
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So then I pre-fished that tournament like 2 weeks
Mhm.
prior, whenever the off limits was before,
Yeah.
and I fished a completely different spot. Not completely different spot. It was a similar spot on the Delta, but I thought a lot of people were going to be launching from there, so I opted out. And I launched from the same place you did. It was funny enough. Like I
Yeah.
said, it was my first. We didn't even plan it, right? Like
Yeah. We didn't plan it.
I didn't
No.
even know you were going to be launching there. And
No.
then I hadn't met you before, and then I
I
show up
didn't
to
know who you were at the launch ramp. I
yeah.
literally, and then when you came back, I didn't know who you were. But then wait, when did we know like you were you and,
Well, I mean, so yeah,
like,
I showed up to the ramp, and then I saw you were on the ramp launching your kayak, and
yeah.
I had seen your YouTube channel before, so I knew what gear you had. So I was like, hey, Dom, like
Oh, so we did like right before day 1.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, in the morning, and
Do you
then
remember? Do you remember I needed like I didn't take a deuce? before I remember that.
Yeah. What was his name?
John Myers.
John Myers. He had one of those handy buckets or something like that. And
Yeah.
then I remember. I don't know if you want me to go into that story,
No, go for it.
but yeah, you had like a trash bag or something like that because you lined the bucket with the trash bag,
Yeah.
and then there was no garbage can around.
Yeah.
So you were walking around with that trash bag for like a good 10 minutes before
With
you.
my poop in it, with my feces in it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was pretty funny.
I was like walking to you, to John. I was like, "Hey, you guys see a trash can anywhere?"
Yeah.
So
And
I think I
that was
sat
like the first day I met you, so I was like, "Wow, this guy's pretty funny."
pretty raw.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
go into day one, like
Yeah, so I mean, I picked that spot is because I don't know if it's secret or not. Delta Coves, right? It's
yeah.
anybody knows Delta's tidal fishery and Delta Coves. It's out of the tide, and I mean, there's still a tide that comes in and comes out, but or I should say, it's out of the current. How about that? The current's not.
Right, it's not a fast-paced current in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So what? End of March we were fishing. So right, pre-spawn, the fish are about to start moving up, and they are moving up.
Mhm.
So I figured, that would be a good place to try out. Like I said, I fished a similar place a couple
Mhm.
weeks prior, and I was with my buddy. We saw a bunch of fish already bedding. So Delta Coves, I figured would be kind of similar scenario. Also, Delta Coves is right next to was it Sugar Barge and Russo's, where they have
Yeah.
most of the tournaments go out of there.
Right.
So big fish, that's where they release them. They have that. You see that tube on all the
Yeah,
YouTube
yeah.
channels where they dump the fish off after the tournaments. That's only a couple miles
It's
from there.
it's almost like its own lake inside Delta Cove.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Delta has a lot of places like that. Where it's
Oh
like
yeah.
little sloughs or dead end
Yeah.
sloughs that you can find, or
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I didn't really have a plan. I was fishing. I was already rigged up with the square bill, chatterbait. My buddy, a couple weeks prior, he had some luck on a light punch rig, and
Yeah.
so that's my game plan. That's my game plan. Just cover water. And a 5-inch Senko. You can't go wrong with the Senko.
Well,
During
tell
the pre-spawn.
tell me how much you put up for day one.
I think it was 103 inches on day one.
Right.
So that was the most. That was like probably that was the biggest limit I had ever caught in one day.
Mhm.
My next biggest is probably close to 100 inches on Clear Lake,
Yeah.
but that wasn't during a tournament. That was
What were you thinking? What was going through your head after you got back to the launch ramp
with 103 inches.
with
Or
103
or I think it was like
inches?
102. Yeah, somewhere in there. But anyway.
Yeah, between the time you packed up all your boat and you stayed at your parents' house, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that weekend.
No, right. Between the time you packed your boat, going to your parents' house, and launching for day two, what was like going through your mind at that moment? Like, tell me all your thoughts at that time.
So, I mean, that day I figured I just had an incredible day on the Delta, which I've had before. I've had good days on the Delta before. But the Delta, like I said, it's a tidal fishery, and it changes from day to day.
Yeah.
So my whole mindset was like, how am I going to repeat 100 inches the next day?
Right.
And I just thought, like, I can bomb the next day. It's totally doable. And sure enough, that's ended up what happening. But so that I've relived that tournament in my head a bunch of times. I just thought about what I did and what I did, what I did wrong, what I could have done right. Especially, you were fishing close to me. We were fishing in the same area.
Yeah.
And you had 2 good days. So
I had one decent day, like one sort of keep me in contention day, and then I had
what'd
really
you catch on
good
the
day.
first day, Don?
91 1/4, I think.
Yeah, I mean that's still great.
Yeah, it's still good,
but
not great.
What's funny though is that day, man, or that tournament. There was like so many fish over 20 inches. I don't know how many, but there was a lot of people catching big fish.
It
it
was
was
almost
like,
like one per person, right? One or
yeah,
two per person.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, March can be tough on the Delta, but uh, that day, that was like the weekend to be fishing on the Delta for sure. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. I mean,
everybody was doing well.
did you catch 5/20 or was it like 4/20 and
I
then
think
like an 18 or something?
my smallest fish on day one was 18 inches.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I actually missed a fish that was probably close. It was probably going to be 20 inches around there, 19, 20 inches.
Yeah.
It got stuck in my drive.
Oh,
So I would have had like probably close to 105 inches
damn.
that day if I would have landed that
Damn.
one. So yeah, it was a great day, and like I said, on the Delta is always changing, and I just thought my mindset was how I can totally bomb the next day. It's like this is a great day today, but
All right.
tomorrow is gonna bring something different, and
What do
yeah.
you like? What would you tell someone that is like coming hot into tournaments for 2023? You know,
What do
and
you mean?
then that
Like,
has like an incredible day one after learning because we all learn after some
well,
mistakes. Like what would you tell those people getting into tournaments either like after an upset like that or after day one? Like what do they need to do to sort of um if you think that there was room for improvement, what would you do differently?
yeah, I mean, I know exactly what I did wrong the next day.
Mm,
I mean, first day I didn't know I was going to put up 100. I wasn't on anything. I didn't even pre-fish that area before, right? And we also had,
mm,
I didn't. There was like two pre-fish days. What a couple days before the tournament.
yeah,
I didn't pre-fish those days. I had work, right? So
yeah,
uh, going into day one, I was just my strategy was just keep an open mind from what I did 2 weeks prior,
yeah.
and that involved me fishing with the square bill, and the square bill didn't really work because it was coming back with a bunch of grass and like the really thick like
The
the net,
clumps and the soft
like
stuff.
yeah, the soft stuff. That's what it was,
Oh,
and,
okay.
and it, so I started using the chatterbait because it was like people call that a 4-wheel drive square bill, right?
Mhm.
And it was coming through a lot cleaner, and that's what you want. You want those. You don't want to be cleaning your lure off every single time. But
Yeah.
um, also, I kind of I filled out my limit with the wacky rig Senko,
Yeah.
and around the docks, there's plenty of docks in that area. And
Mhm.
on day two, I was just I already had in my mind what was successful the day before, which was the black and blue chatterbait. That was what I
Right.
caught all my big fish on. And on day two, my first fish was a 20 incher or
Mhm.
something like that. And that was within the first 15 minutes. And so
Yeah.
I initially thought, I was like, cool, man, it's on again.
Yeah.
I could probably keep doing this for the next 8 hours or whatever it was and get a limit. And that's kind of what I wanted just to do, is get a limit,
Mhm.
but what I didn't do is keep an open mind the second day. I was stuck on what was working for me the first day. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but the conditions they changed a lot on the second day. It was like overcast skies and the winds were, I think, blowing a lot harder in the end of the day. It
Yeah,
actually
on
like
day 2,
like
yeah, yeah.
like day one, it got warmer towards the end of the day,
Yeah.
and it was vice versa. The second day, it was actually colder at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Um, so the one thing I didn't really do was take my time with a wacky rig Senko on day two, and
Mhm.
that's I think that's what really worked for you.
Yeah.
Um,
And
and
Dutcher.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
My thing with the wacky rig Senko is you get no report from the bait. You just throw it out there and you just, I don't know, you could twitch it
You
a couple
watch your
times.
line, that's
Yeah,
it.
you watch your line, and
Yeah.
it's not like you're dragging it on the bottom, feeling
Now that I think of it, it's kind of like throwing a sardine out or like a mackerel and you just let it swim down, right? And then
yeah,
you just watch your line and you free spool it until you see your line jump or
yeah. So I
yeah.
was I was I was bent on chucking and winding with the chatterbait, and that's
Yeah.
I only caught two fish that day. So
Man, I
Yeah,
get caught up with that too, though. When I went to Clear Lake, and you're thinking, "Oh man, it's Clear Lake. Oh man, it's the Delta." You're like, "There's no way I can come in with less than 5 fish with the chatterbait or top water, just because they could be insane,
yeah,
especially if you had 103 inches the day before on it, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it's crazy. It's like even Clear Lake, even the
Well, I
Delta
mean,
for me.
last year at Clear Lake was something different, right? That was
Yeah. But I feel like if I drop shot and if I actually went with, some of my finesse techniques in collaboration with like some of the top water that I went, basically I just caught on fire. I didn't do so well on the West Coast Championship because I was like, no, they're going to eat top water. I'm just going to throw it in their face all day and then I'm going to catch my 5, but that didn't
well. I
happen.
mean, what you see at Clear Lake last year is all the fish blowing up in the grass, right? So you're
Yeah.
automatically thinking top water.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, that just goes to show you. So you would tell you
keep
would
an
tell
open
all the
mind.
new anglers.
Keep
Okay.
keep an
Yeah.
open mind. Yeah, that's and I think that's going to be well that is like my advice to myself in
Yeah.
most of these tournaments.
Now, okay. So we started at the Delta, and then you decided to fish another American Bass tournament, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The Ironman.
Yeah, Ironman. Well, the other one was Ironman as well, but yeah, Ironman
Yeah.
Clear Lake this time.
Yep.
And
So, what did you do differently during that tournament? Um, tell
uh, I,
me like why you wanted to fish in the beginning. Like, tell me about that story.
well, I mean the ABA series was when it was announced, I thought that was really
Hmm.
cool. Like 3 events up north, 3 events down south.
Yeah.
And I was kind of following what the season prior to that that you guys did for ABA, and it seemed like
Oh,
a
okay.
really good, really a well run tournament. And so, sure enough, I mean, when I fished the Delta, you know, the it was just run really well. I think Carrie was the tournament director at that point,
Yeah.
um, and you get all the updates beforehand, and so you always know exactly what to do. I mean, I had a problem with that was my first time using FishBrain, so I think I had like my permissions on my photos weren't set properly. So when I was
Oh, not fish brain. You're talking about fishing chaos.
yeah, I'm sorry, fishing chaos. Yeah, yeah.
Fish brain.
Thanks for correcting me. Yeah, I wasn't using
I was like,
FishBrain
wait,
for
what fish brain? You're using
yeah,
it for the bite
fish,
over at Clear Lake?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, fishing. That was my first time using fishing chaos. So yeah,
Yeah.
but like I had a really good experience at Delta, even though I bombed the second day. So and then Clear Lake. Um, Clear Lake is my favorite place to fish. So
Were you going into you were going a little bit more relaxed going into
definitely,
Clear Lake.
definitely, yeah. Because my thing, I was just trying to catch a limit. That's all I wanted to
Yeah.
do. And I roomed with you and Cody, and you
Yeah.
guys were like on the kick of like I think you had just won like I don't know 3 or 4 tournaments or whatever it was. Dom, you had
Yeah.
an incredible run, and then Cody, what he won the 10 or something prior to that. Is that
Yeah. 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 The
so?
beginning of the year, he won 10.
I
And
was I,
then,
I was
yeah.
rooming with some sticks, and I was just like I was telling you before. My intention
Yeah.
when I got my kayak was never to fish tournaments. So I have a job. I don't look at this like it's my
Full time gig or
yeah. It's
something
just
that you want to pursue full time.
it's my hobby. And
Right.
so when I go to a tournament, it's just mostly to have fun. I mean, of course, you want to win some money because you don't want to donate all the time, right? But
Okay. So you came in all relaxed.
yeah.
You still want to win, but you're like, it's not the end of the world if I lose this one again,
Yeah,
type
totally.
thing.
I'm there to have fun with you guys,
And
and
then, so day one, how many inches did you have?
I think I had like 96 or something like that.
96.
Yeah,
And what
96.
bait were you throwing on
Under
that one?
underspin and a drop shot.
Wait, you drop shot it on day one?
I caught like 3 fish on the making the same cast on one dock.
That was day one. I thought that was
That
day
was day
two.
one. Day one, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I was the underspin was the deal. That was like the
Do you feel like it wouldn't be complete though? Like, would you say that at least 20 or 25% of fish that you caught on drop shot was submitted and a fish that
I think I
counted?
culled like three or four fish on the drop shot.
Oh, so it did count.
Yeah,
It did
I
work
had
out.
like two 17s in a row. I think I had two 17s
Damn.
in a row and an 18 on the drop shot and the same cast and the same dock. Like on day one, it was kind of tough, man. It was I don't know if you remember, but it was I didn't get my first fish until 8 a.m. And I was fishing the same spot. Like it was just like a I don't know. It wasn't even 100 yards, 75 yards probably. 50. Like it was a tule patch. Like and there was like
Yeah.
there's like rock that was just off this tule patch, and the fish were moving up to the tule patch, and there's like grass on the
Would
outside
you
of the
say
tule
it was a
patch.
timing deal? Like, if you were to go there straight in the morning, you didn't
Clear
get a
Lake
bit.
is always a timing deal. It's like
Yeah.
those fish always seem to be feeding like at around 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock.
Right.
Uh, I mean, in the grass anyway. That's kind of what I was fishing. So, um,
So sort of like that never give up type of water, because someone could win in the last like noon time to 2 p.m. Like,
well, that's what I did.
yeah, I mean, I saw you and Matthew
Oh, we
Brandon
were the second day, man. We were back and
back and
forth.
forth, man. And
Yeah,
would you say
that
the
was
second day you caught most of your fish on underspin?
yes, yeah, yeah. I caught my limit I think by 8 a.m. on the drop shot because I learned what I did. Because on the drop shot fish that I caught the day before, um,
Mm,
well, I mean, I caught the drop shot fish at the end of the day, and also there was another boat tournament, like a club tournament there.
yeah,
I, we got there. We got to our spot before the boats did because the
yeah.
boats launched at like first light or whatever it was. We launched when it was still dark, right? So the first day when I was fishing my spot, this boat comes like hauling in, and he sees me on that tule patch, and I guess he was gonna fish that same spot, and then I can hear him when he yelling. He's like, "Crap!" He said another word, but uh, he's like he beat us to it. So he went straight to that dock, and I hadn't caught a fish yet, and then he went straight to that dock and caught like an 18 incher. It was like a
Dang.
three or 4 pounder, and I was like, "What the hell?" It's like I
You're
should have
like,
just went.
I'm not gonna not fish there after you leave.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and then that guy was crowding my area. He seen me catch a couple fish eventually, and then he started coming over to me. He's like, "Oh, what you doing?" Asking me a bunch of questions.
Was he in a tournament too?
Yeah, he was in a tournament.
He
Yeah,
can't. I don't know what the official rules for his tournament, but I don't know if he could talk to outsiders during a tournament. Like, what are you
yeah,
doing?
I don't
Blah blah
know.
blah.
Yeah, I don't know. Depending on the rules of
Yeah.
his club tournament, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like a team. They were doing a team tournament or something.
Oh, I see.
Um, but yeah, so I seen him catch that fish on the dock, so I knew that they were there. And so yeah, I think I had like three fish or something like that. And I moved to a different spot that I had found in practice, away from that first spot I was fishing at. And then tried to get it going over there. Still couldn't get anything. And I think it was like maybe noon by this time. And I can't remember if I had a limit by that point or not. I think I did. But then, yeah, noon, I went back to my first spot. And that's when I started culling all those fish on the drop shot. It's like
Dang.
cast, cast after cast in the same
You said
spot.
day two.
That was day one. And
That
then
was day one.
day two, knowing you know, knowing what I had learned from the first day, day two, I went to that dock straight away.
Mm-hmm.
Just like those guys did, right? Like
Yeah.
they went to that dock and caught a fish right away. So that's exactly what I did, and I caught making the same cast. There was like a little school on that little dock right there. I got my limit within an hour or two.
No way. Same
Yeah,
exact line cast at the dock,
yeah,
and you caught all five.
yeah. And those I don't know what colored worm was. Robo Worm, a Morning Dawn, the
6 inch or
Aaron's
four and a
Dawn.
half?
I like the fat ones. So it's Robo Worm
The
Fat,
fat. Yeah.
6 inch.
Six
Um,
inch. Okay. And
Yeah,
is the Aaron Martin? Is that you said Aaron Martin's Morning
Aaron's
Dawn?
Dawn or whatever it was. Yeah, it was
Is
like
it a
a
green pumpkin or a pink?
no, it was it was a pink one with like red flake in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's close to Morning Dawn, sort of.
yeah. It's got red, but
Okay.
it's got red flake in it. So
Okay.
yeah,
Damn, Dawn's red flake. He's just like, don't miss out on the
it's
I'm
a good
I'm
color,
giving the
man.
juice out.
Good color. Yeah.
Go get you some fat robo worm 6 inches on tackle warehouse red
Yeah.
flake. Okay, guys.
Yeah, I mean, clearly that like a pink or a purple color. That's it's always good
That's
juice.
crazy. How many fish total did you catch on day 2 off of that dock?
I caught probably like 6.
And that's it. You bailed out after that. You're like, I need to
Well,
upgrade.
I went back to that spot a couple times because the dock was right next to my main spot, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I caught that limit, and then I'm looking at the leaderboard. I always look at the leaderboard, and I see Matthew Brandon there now because I think he was like what, third or something the first day.
Hmm.
But I see Matthew Brandon's the one in first place. So then him and I caught my limit, and my limit I had the day before is like
Hmm.
it was 96 inches, pretty decent. So the next day, I think when I caught my limit initially, I think I had like 82 or 85 inches or something.
Yeah.
So when I get that, it kind of puts me up there, and I see Matthew Brandon in first place, and then I think I caught a 19-inch fish.
So wait. Before you go into deeper, what made you make the choice like, hey, I'm moving off of this dock after I catch my 5?
I think I made like 3 or 4 casts there, and I didn't catch anything. So I was like, okay,
So,
maybe I caught all the fish. And then I actually saw the fish on the graph. They were hanging around this little rock pile in front of the dock. So
oh, okay.
I didn't really see them on. I seen a couple marks on the graph, but they weren't going after my bait anymore. So I think I had caught all the hungry ones
So
off
you
that
beat
dock.
him up. You
Yeah,
sore lipped him.
I definitely did. And it was day 2. So what are you gonna do, right? You're gonna try to
So
catch all the
you
fish you
think
can get.
so you caught about 3 or 4 on day 1 from the same spot.
Yeah, I caught all the big ones the day before. the
Okay,
next
so
the next day were 16 inches, 15 inches.
so you caught 8 or 9 total fish off of that dock. And then at that time you're like, okay, I sore lipped them. There's probably no big ones. The chances are you're not gonna coal again off of that dock.
I
So
mean,
that's what made you kind of leave?
yeah, and I finished probably around 9 a.m. and I was thinking, maybe later a big one might roll up to the dock, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. So what I was doing though is I was going back and forth on that tule patch for the most part with the underspin, and that's all my big fish came on the underspin. And I had caught a 19-incher doing that, like right after I started fishing the dock. And then so that was the time when I started going back and forth with Matthew Brand. I think I took the lead after the 19-incher,
Yeah.
and then another boat rolled up, and they were fishing off. They were fishing offshore,
Right.
but also when I'm fishing on that tule patch, I'm seeing all the fish bust. Right, there's a bunch of fish going busting in the grass,
Yeah.
and I seen the back of a fish that looked like a 10-pounder, dude. It was huge. It was,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking in my head, okay, I want that one, right? so
Yeah, you told me about it, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, go
So
deep
so
into that
so,
story.
so then I'm like I think I'm in second place now or something. Matthew finally he caught another fish and he's in first place, and I'm like looking at the leaderboard, and that's when I start kind of like I think I texted you guys or something, and we were talking,
Yeah.
and you guys were like giving me a pep talk, and then I get a bite, and it wasn't even that. I didn't even think it was that big, and then it hit right at my kayak, so I didn't get a good
Hmm.
hook set on it. Right, it was like right there, and so I couldn't get a full swing on it. And I'm getting it to like where it's right next to the boat, and then I see its head come up, and it's like an 8-pounder. The fish was probably at least 23 inches.
Yeah.
And
That would have put it away
oh, exactly,
easily.
exactly. And
Yeah.
then yeah, and it shook its head, and underspin comes flying out, and then I see the guy. He's right over there at the boat. He didn't see the fish because it's on the other
Now,
side of the kayak.
are you a net guy or are you a not a net
Okay,
guy?
so this I'm gonna go into what I meant when I last podcast when I said sometimes
Yeah.
it's easier to net or lip a bigger fish and
Yep.
net it, because if it's right next to the boat, you got that big head out of the water. It's hard to get
Yep.
the net underneath a longer fish, and when
Right.
it's got a big ass mouth, it's I just grab the fish by the mouth and just lift
Because
them
the
out of the
lips
water.
are so big and
Yeah.
the mouth is already open. It's right
Yes.
there. You're just like, so the lip is like this big. It's easy to just,
All the big fish on
you
the
know.
delta that I caught, I lipped
Yeah.
those. I lipped all those fish because I was with a chatterbait. It's kind of heavy, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
and it can pop out pretty easy.
Yeah.
So when they got close to my kayak and they just got this big ass head with the mouth open and just reached down and grabbed that big fish, right? That,
Well,
that
so do you think you would have you wouldn't go back and rewind and say I want to use a net for that fish, or yes or no?
No, that was I didn't even have time. It came up and shook his head, and I didn't even have time to react. And
Because if you went to reach for the net anyways, it probably would have shaken that lure off anyways, right?
probably, I
If
mean,
because
just
it takes time to get the net, you know what I
well,
mean?
totally, and I like the net fish on the left hand side because I picked the net up with my left hand, and
Yeah.
I go like
Guide
this
it
with
in
my
with
left.
your right. Yeah.
Yeah, so that fish was on the opposite side of the kayak, so I would have been fumbling for it.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I lost that fish, and I was just like, oh my god, just
How
I
do you
mean,
come back after that? Like,
yeah. Well, then you guys gave me the pep talk, and you're like, you guys, just keep going, keep your head down, keep doing it, and then I think I caught one more 19-incher or something, a bigger fish,
mhm.
and then we were Matthew Brandon and I were still going back and forth. We traded spots probably like 3 or 4 times that
You're
day.
trading blows like one
Yeah,
after another.
yeah, it was pretty gnarly, but uh, so the problem with that weekend was the algae, right?
Hmm.
Algae was really bad. It was getting gummed up in your reel. It was a pain in the ass to fish.
Yeah.
And I think what was going on where I was fishing, it was right on like a transition spot between where the water was really nasty, the further south you go,
Hmm.
and then where I was, it wasn't quite like that. But then later in the day, like right after I missed that big fish, all that green nasty shit moved in, and,
Yeah.
and and it was hard to fish. So I moved to the spot that I had found in practice, and
Hmm.
it was like the last half hour. And it was funny because I seen John Graves. He was coming from that spot, and I was like, "Hey, John, did you catch anything over here?" He's like, "No, not a thing." And I'm like, "All right." But when I got there, the water was a nice color.
Yeah.
That algae hadn't got over there by that time. And so I just went through that grass patch that I had found, and within the last half hour, I caught a 20-incher, and I knew at that point, okay, Matthew Brandon's not catching up to me now. This is
Oh,
mine.
really?
Yeah,
How
yeah.
many inches did you have on day two?
I think I had like 92. It wasn't as much as I had the day before, but
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was enough.
yeah.
So, like, comparing your Delta to Clear Lake, what was like the key
Well,
takeaways
I don't know if you
and
remember
how
what
you felt?
the live that we did before with Shane the night
Hmm.
before, um, and I was telling you guys this the whole weekend. It's like I just want to catch a limit. I just want to catch a
Yeah.
limit, and you're like, shut up. You're gonna catch more fish than that.
Yeah, yeah, because
Yeah,
we know you know Clear Lake really well.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that was just my attitude, though. I just wanted to catch a limit, and
Yeah.
I didn't really put the pressure on myself. So,
Oh, okay. So the key takeaways is kind of like don't stress out,
but who
just
knows,
catch
man? It's
fish.
fishing, man. You
Yeah.
still gotta have some creature eat your fake lure. So,
Yeah. It is
um,
there is a lot of luck involved
yeah,
because there's a lot of variables involved.
yeah,
So it's not like you could tell a bass to eat your bait whenever you want, even if you
yeah,
have live scope or if there's an insane chatterbait. You can't just tell every fish like, "Hey, eat today," you know?
yeah, yeah. It's always
Um,
like decisions you make. Like me, thinking that like all the algae was moving into that spot and I wasn't going to get another bite. Just like okay, I got to go. So that decision there sealed the deal, right?
so it's like be open minded.
Definitely, definitely.
Definitely a key takeaway from bombing the Delta tournament to winning. It's redemption, man. You went over to Clear Lake,
Yeah,
fish another Ironman series
it's
to
pretty funny because
freaking
I was leading day one. Both the Northern California
yeah,
events.
yeah. But then you finished strong. You finished strong. You made a game
Yeah,
decision on the water to move to cleaner water. And even John said it playing in your variables, like even after angler was fishing there for a while, John's coming back from it and saying, nope, I didn't get bit. You still went over there and decided to fish it, and you caught a 20-incher.
yeah, yeah,
So, like, you had all the variables against you, but you're like, you know what? I don't care, what this angler says. You have respect for him and everything. John Gray's a cool guy,
hell yeah, nice
but you're
guy, man.
just like, hey, I got to check it out for myself. I can't listen to the dog talk. I need to go over there because it does look cleaner than that algae at your original spot. Um, and then also you kept an open mind. The drop shot, you drop shot, and you don't do that very often, right? Or you do?
I do, I do. I mean,
Oh,
it's
okay.
yeah, I like using the drop shot.
But you didn't glue that chatterbait in your hand or that underspin in your hand. Like
But I
it's
glue
kind of like that.
the
It's kind
underspin in my hand at Clear Lake all the time.
yeah. When you're fun fishing or something like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
when you're like in contention to win a tournament after day one, you're going to keep an open mind in order to catch five, simply put, right?
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Good for you, dude. How does it feel like getting redemption? Did
Uh,
it feel even better, or would you want both
w-
victories?
well, a 2 day turn. Yeah, yeah. A 2 day tournament though is that's like go. Okay, taking the lead on the first day is one thing, but then
Yeah.
a 2 day tournament, you got to do that the next day. So
Yep.
the night before, you're just thinking about it, like, oh God, now I got to go somehow win another tournament, essentially, right? You have to win two tournaments in one.
In 2 days in a row, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
like at least be a consistent top 5 angler
yeah,
2 days in a row.
yeah. It's tough,
Yeah.
man.
What do you
So
think? You like it more? Do you think
two
it
days.
yeah, do you think 2 days do you prefer it or do you
I,
think it's on another level? What do you think?
yeah, it's just another way to compete, man. I like the 1 days because one and done,
Yeah.
right? But that's
Yeah, you
fun.
get to
But
go home real
the
fast.
the 2 days definitely set, somebody that's on a bite or that's just got lucky that day, right? So they sets those people apart.
Yeah. Yeah, so you saying that a 1 day it could be luck, a little bit more luck
Definitely,
on their side.
yeah,
2 days, if your fish bailed out,
yeah,
you better go looking for them on 2 days like
yep,
you did.
yeah, yeah.
Like if you didn't catch that 20-incher in that new water that you didn't touch on day 1 or
Matthew
that
Brandon
you
would have
looked
won.
for,
Matthew Brandon
you
would
would
have
have
won.
won. Yeah.
Matthew Brandon would have won.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you didn't go to that area, if you didn't have an open mind, you're like, "Hey, I'm just going to stick it through this area because I caught all my big fish here." Then you would have lost. You would have finished second place probably.
second place. Yeah,
Yeah, not first.
nope. Yeah,
I hope you're listening to this later on, Matthew. Just kidding.
yeah. I think he's up at Orville right now. They
Yeah.
got the Acrobats going on this weekend.
What you got going on for 2023, Don? What tournaments are
Uh,
you fishing?
I mean, the same thing as I did last year. I want to fish the West Coast Championship again, so that'll be my main goal is just to qualify for that. And I think you gotta for the Acrobats events. Those are the events I'll be fishing. You gotta be in the top 20% of an event. So
Yeah.
it's tough, right? 100 anglers, you got to get a top 20. So
Yeah, I mean, if you want it a little bit easier, you just go down SoCal to one that there's not a huge turnout, and then
yeah,
try to do that.
yeah. How does that work down there? I don't.
I think it's top 25% in one event will get
Okay,
you in, as long as it's a West Coast qualifier event, Like you have
Mhm.
to fish a specific one, or you fish all three designated West Coast Championship events, but you have to buy in all three that are identified as WCC qualified tournaments. But so is there like so we got through your plans for 2023. Will you these are some of the questions that I want to finish the podcast with. Would you ever jump into a bass boat? Like, is that one of your
Like
goals?
buy one.
Yes.
I would love to. But I mean the gas though. I mean the gas is kind of a
Yeah.
turn off. I don't have a place to store it. I live in an apartment.
So
Uh,
you're completely happy with kayak fishing for the rest of your life? Would you ever
it's a good way to get. It's an easy way to get on the water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to have a boat because like. I fish by myself on a kayak most time, right?
Hmm.
I would love to take. I have buddies that they don't really. They're not fishing isn't their main hobby, but
Yeah.
they do like going fishing with me. So I would love to have a boat and take some of my buddies out on the boat with me. So
Yeah. Lastly, man, um like what are some of the stories you had with Kayak Ditch Day? Like when did you meet them and how did it all unfold?
that was West Coast Championship. I met all those guys.
Mhm.
And honestly, the way it was turning out, I thought you guys were going to be party hardy, right? So I was like,
Yeah.
I think I'm just going to get my own Airbnb so I don't have to be fighting for a bed over here, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I was hanging out with you guys every night that weekend, and it was a fun time, man. Those kayak ditch days, good group for sure.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
There's good guys,
the
man.
next West Coast Championship, I'm gonna tag along with you guys if you don't mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that you're officially in, we're
Yeah,
gonna have, it seems like everybody has their own strength in the club. I wouldn't even call it a club. It's more of just like a group of good guys. We're gonna try to do something, man. This is actually bringing up some ideas for the West Coast Championship. Maybe we should bring a big old banner, put it in front of the house, kayak ditch day.
yeah,
Get the
man.
tequila ready and prove you wrong that we are partiers, Don.
Yeah, exactly. The time I do come, it's gonna it's gonna be a huge party.
Yeah. I mean, I wish you came last time, man.
Yeah, but
To
like I said,
our
we were.
Lopez Lake.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the plan, but
Things happen,
yeah.
man.
Some people like to go out when they're sick or something.
Yeah. That's not a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the fishing wasn't that good anyways, but we should plan something with Kayak Ditch Day, maybe maybe West Coast Championship. Make it big.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Make it
I'm down. And I think that they're talking about putting it back up at Clear Lake since the lake is full now. Not
Yeah,
full, but
you should keep us updated since you're in the
yeah, for
northern
sure.
region.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even if it's at the Delta, man, staying at getting a house on
Disco or
yeah
something.
Discovery Bay or something, or
Or if we can get one right next to Delta Coves.
yeah. What do they call that? Methyl Island.
Do they really call it?
Yeah, there's some
But
winners
those
out there
houses are nice though. I think there's a lot of
On Delta Coast. Ooh, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I think there's gonna be gentrification right there, no? Like
yeah. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, well, those houses are really nice. I mean,
yeah.
right next to that. What is that? What is that launch called? I forgot what it's called. Um,
It's
but
not Sugar Bars you're talking about, is it?
no, it's the one that we launched from
Oh,
Sunset Harbor, I think it's called.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Those houses right there. I
Oh
mean, I don't think
man.
they're houses. I think they're boats. So, yeah,
Dude, I was kind of like there was a couple tweakers at the launch ramp every
yeah,
single
it's
time.
pretty sketchy.
Yeah. I even asked you when I first got there, I was like, hey man, like is this a bad area or a good area? I think
Yeah,
you told me like this is not the best area
yeah.
to
Like I
leave
said,
stuff in your car.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Keep it hidden.
Yeah, for sure. Damn. Any more advice for the guys at home right now listening to the podcast?
Just time on the water. That's all I can say.
Yeah, really, it
You
is.
know,
It is.
just time on the water.
Because you did say something at the Delta that really is super important. That Arnold said hi, by the way.
What's up, Arnold?
Yeah, and then Jasper Muniz says go slow. That's do you know Jasper?
I don't think I've ever met Jasper.
No, he says go slow. Maxley is like 103 is a big bag. Yak Loco too. But you found out the fish were bedding. That's being on the water, knowing 2 weeks ago before the tournament, you knew they were gonna pull up or they already pulled up.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, March can be tough, and because it's the Florida strain bass supposedly on the Delta. So, and
Mm-hmm.
it was pretty chilly. A couple weeks prior, we had a couple good days of sun. So I knew that they were. It was like it was either right before they're going to be moving up, or right in the middle of it. And it seemed like
Yeah,
it was right in the middle of it. So
right in the middle of it. Yeah.
yeah,
Chris Cabral said McClure tomorrow. You're not gonna do that one, right? You're sick. Right.
yeah. No, it's not McClure. I don't know. Maybe there's another
Oh,
event
it's
that
Orville
Orville tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
McClure is gonna be next week with Slay Nation.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, I won't be doing that one either. I think my next event will probably be a Yakabas event. I don't know which one it will be. I think there's Orville, and then what was the other lake? God, it's another lake that I don't like fishing, or I've never
Pine
actually.
Flat,
No, it's
Tulik,
no. Tulloch is probably gonna be the one I fish, but there's another one. God, I can't.
Trinity,
No. It's
New
up.
Malones,
No, it's up north near Sac. God, I can't think of the name
near
of it.
Sac.
Somebody's probably if somebody can come.
Don Pedro.
No. If somebody
You
can
should
comment.
know Don Pedro.
Tom Pedro's not bad.
Bullsbard,
No,
Folsom.
Folsom. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Max Lee knows. He's there fishing with you, right?
Yeah. I've never met him on the water, but I'm sure I've fished in a tournament with him. I think.
Yeah, yeah. He's from Central California, but he comes out to the Yakibass ones as well. All right, well, we're here on the podcast. We'll probably end it right at an hour. But anybody in the chat room, you guys have any questions for Don? What kind of setup are you throwing on your underspin? Go
I
into the rod, the action of the rod, the title of the rod, the reel, the braid, or I mean the line.
so I use two different setups for an underspin, right? So I have for an open hook for cool baits. I have a rod, a custom rod that I had made by a guy named Mark Neflis.
Uh
It's Neff Customs is the rods he makes, and it's a 7.6 medium heavy, and I use it with 40-pound braid to usually 12-pound leader, 12 to 15-pound leader.
Does that rod have kind of like a square bill action?
It's more parabolic, but
Would you throw a square bill on that rod?
you can
What
but
other lure would you throw that
uh
on that same rod?
spinner bait is probably a good rod for a
Oh,
spinner
so
bait.
it's a hefty rod.
It's a medium heavy, so it's a legit
Okay.
medium heavy, but it's got a lot of tip on it because
Uh-huh.
what he did is I think he had it was like a 7 foot, I think it was like a 7'10" blank, and
Uh-huh.
depending on where he trims the blank, if he trims it from the back, it becomes heavier. I don't know what he did, but
Yeah.
it's
More parabolic.
yes, it's more
Oh,
parabolic.
okay. Okay,
Um,
cool.
yeah, and so
So,
then
okay.
for a weedless underspin, like a flashy swimmer, I have another rod that I use. It's a 7'4". Um, what is it brand? God,
iRod.
no, it's not. I use that one too, but the one I like to use more, Kistler. It's a Kistler, and they
Oh,
don't.
really?
Yeah, they don't make the rod anymore. It's it's called a 7'4" medium heavy, and it's another parabolic action, but it's pretty stiff though.
It's kind of like a mini punch rod setup. Is it that stiff?
Not quite that stiff.
Like a
It,
Texas rig
they
stiff?
say it's for like whopper ploppers and small swim baits.
Ah, I
That's what it
see.
says on the rod.
Okay.
And it would be a good rod for. I've never used it for whopper plopper. I mean, I've thrown the
Yeah.
whopper plopper on it a couple times, but never really.
What about 6-inch mag draft? Would you throw it on that?
It's probably a little light for that rod, or I mean, that
It's
rod's a little light
too
for that.
heavy.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. 6-inch bad draft, I would probably throw on that eye rod that I use. The eye
Oh,
rod that I
okay.
use is a 764. Um,
So anybody that goes to tackle store, just buy a medium heavy 7'4" for 7'4" to 7'6"
Yeah,
for
for me
the
on the
underspin.
kayak, I think a 7'6" rod like is 7'4", 7'6" is like that's a sweet spot, man. Because you can get a
Yeah.
lot of distance with that rod, and yeah, you can pick up more line on the hook set with the longer rod. So
Yeah. I'm the complete opposite with you. I'm like 7 foot,
yeah,
705.
I like the distance on the cast, man. That's
Yeah.
yeah,
That's huge, man. That's I want to test out your rod setup for your underspin
for
because
sure.
I have the SLX DC and I could wing that out
I
pretty
think
far.
you were using like a crankbait rod, I think, right?
Yeah, I
For
use a
yeah,
705. I don't
yeah.
like because we're using lighter line like 10 to 12. I use
Hmm.
10 to 12 and I've broken off fish, which I need to probably change the knot or tie a better knot, but I've broken off fish during tournament on underspin
You used
on 10 to
braid
12.
braid to lead.
No, all floral,
Okay.
but I would break off at the knot because the fluorocarbon would eat into itself, I
Mm.
think.
Yeah, and most times when I'm fishing weedless underspin, I go straight braid.
Are you doing that when it's 10-foot visibility?
Probably
Like,
not. Probably not.
no,
Yeah,
probably like
I would
12.
I would probably use either my other rod or with the braid to fluoro or just straight fluoro.
How long of a leader and then what is the floral do you
so
use?
what I do is I tie like a 30-foot, 40-foot leader on my because
Oh, so a full cast.
pretty close to it. Like my
Pretty
knot,
close to it. Okay.
I do the FG knot, so that I never really have any problem with that thing going through the guide. So um,
Really,
I
it doesn't slow it down a little bit and make you backlash a little bit
mm,
if it comes through.
nah, not that I
Oh, okay.
notice.
What braid are you throwing to
I
what
always
pound test floral?
I always 40-pound braid for the underspin. 40 pound is I mean unless I'm punching or something, that's usually what I have. But uh, I use what is it, Max Quattro or what was that? The braid. Can't think of. I'm blanking today, but
Is it Spectrum or what do you call it?
yeah, I
It's
think it's
not
Max
the
Quattro, right?
Oh, so you don't use the what everybody else uses. What is that
No, the
braid
Power
called?
Pro,
Oh, it is Power Pro.
the
Oh, okay.
top of the line Power Pro. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
You don't use the cheaper Power Pro. You use
sometimes I will if it's like
Okay.
Tackle Warehouse. They got a
Do you
good
notice
deal
it?
or something.
Do you notice a difference?
Yeah, I think the cheaper stuff is a bigger diameter.
Oh, so the Max Quattro, you're getting a bigger distance,
Yeah,
less drag.
yeah, and I think it lasts a little longer. Like the color lasts a little longer.
Were you throwing straight yellow braid
On my spinning
for your
side,
underspin?
no, never.
Green?
No, green. Yeah, if I'm doing straight braid,
Okay.
I like to use a green.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use a bright color.
Okay. And so if you recommended someone to go get an underspin rod and you're fishing more heavier, dirty water, you would recommend a medium heavy 7'4" rod with 40-pound braid.
If you're fishing grass, I mean
Grass.
you can get away with straight fluoro, in my opinion, like a 15-pound fluoro or something.
15-pound flora and grass.
12 to 15 pound. Yeah, but if you're fishing like heavy grass, like we were fishing Clear Lake last
Yeah.
year, straight
Just the
braids,
braid, yeah.
that's a deal.
If you're fishing cleaner water with less grass, almost zero grass, you would fish a 7-foot 6 rod, medium heavy, open hook,
Yes, yeah, cool
with the
baits.
40-pound to 15-pound leader.
I mean, the smaller I can get away with, the better. but usually
So
12
straight 12 pound,
yeah,
straight 12 pound floral.
usually 12.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
And then the what you would recommend is a flashy swimmer and cool baits.
Yeah, for flashy swimmer for the weedless setup, and then
Yeah.
cool baits for the open hook.
Have you experimented at all with any other underspins that work really well as well?
Yeah, which is another one that Picasso, I think they make a pretty good one.
Underspin,
Yeah,
weedless, or open hook?
it was open hook, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
As far as the weedless setup, flashy swimmer is all
That's
right.
the best one, huh? For
I think that
weedless.
there's a couple other similar ones, but flashy swimmer is the one I go to. You know,
Okay. Jonathan Dumine say, "What up, down?"
what's up, John?
And then Arnold V says, "Do you ever use a jig head and screw in the blades as an underspin?"
Ooh, I've never done that, but I'm sure it's a quick if you want to take your blade off or have a quick modification and use that.
Yeah.
My thing is you might lose it.
Yeah, that's true too. He says Power Pro. I'm pretty sure that was earlier.
Power Pro.
I've heard good things about Suffix 131 as well. Smoother casting supposedly by Max Lee commented. Yeah, Suffix 130 131.
Yeah, usually for me it's like if I find something I like, I don't
Stick
experiment a
to
whole
it.
lot,
Yeah.
but keep an open mind was what we were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah. Yep. Arna says the Max Quattro phrase like crazy for me. Is that
Hmm.
true?
I don't know. I guess, but you retie, and then
Have you ever broken off a fish off of Max Quattro?
yeah, I did. It was the frog tournament we did
Yeah.
a couple of years back. It was we were using frogs and buzz baits,
Mhm.
and it was only like a 2 pound, 3 pound fish. And I go to set the hook on a buzz bait and it just snapped right off. I don't know what the
Smack.
heck. I
Wow.
don't know what the heck happened.
And it really snapped, or did the rod slip? The line slip?
No, it snapped. It was think. You
Oh
feel you
wow.
compared to like a slip. You can like it probably like
Yeah.
lightly tugs or whatever, but with a snap, you just feel
I
the.
think it's a given. You go
I
thinner
think
line diameter.
what it
I
is
mean,
you're not. So
yeah.
you can tie a fast. I'm pretty slow at tying knots, but a polymer knot
Yeah.
that'll screw you
Yeah.
up sometimes. So if you're
Yeah.
not paying,
Because if you're not paying attention, like you
yeah.
said, go ahead.
Well, like sometimes I notice when I'm going real fast, the loop will like twist around. So you'll
Mhm.
have it'll like twist and then it'll like cinch down even harder on the line. So I think that's what happened in that situation.
Yeah. A lot of professionals. I saw it when I was on the toilet seat last night. I was watching some YouTube shorts, but there's like 3 or 4 different anglers. It's like the fluorocarbon when you're tying a polymer knot will eat into itself and will break at the knot.
You gotta spit on your knots.
You gotta spit on the knot and you gotta make sure that line that you make a weird S pattern, it goes over and then
Yes.
you cinch it down. If
Yeah.
it doesn't go over, basically it's eating its into itself at a weak point and
Yeah.
then snap, it's gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it was nice having you on here, man. We're gonna have to bring you on another time. Get a quick update on this year's tournament. You know,
Sure.
like so your next event is over at
I think maybe Telder's gonna be
what?
the first one.
Oh, so it's not gonna be at Bulls. It's not gonna be at what lake did
Folsom.
he say?
Folsom.
Folsom.
I
Yeah,
think was maybe. We'll see.
dude,
We'll
just
see.
do it. I
I've
want to
never.
see some content.
Yeah, that's another thing. I don't really keep the GoPro on. I'm not consistent with the GoPro, so maybe I can do that this year.
You
Be a
have a
little more
little
consistent.
bit of footage from last year, no? From your
Sometimes,
win.
yeah, yeah. Just no, not any of the wins. I
Did you
mostly
have
just
some on the Delta or West Coast? You had some on the West Coast, right?
yeah. During pre-fish, I don't like during the tournament. I don't really want to mess around with the camera too much. You guys are
Oh,
on another level with that than for me.
we're gonna have to get you set up because if
Yeah.
you're gonna be a part of Kayak Ditch Day, dude, you gotta be on the camera, bro.
Right, right. Yeah, if we're gonna have a Instagram page full of content,
Yep, dude.
yeah,
It's you against Cheetah, man. I think that's gonna be a TV show in itself.
me against Cheeto. What is that?
Yeah,
Is that the
big baits
competition?
only. Big
Yeah.
baits only, 6-inch or more. We like them long,
Yeah.
type deal.
One of these guys that I never
Yeah,
use.
we're gonna go. We're gonna do a battle between you and Cheeto at a lake, and we're just gonna be like, whoever catches the first fish on a swim bait, 6 inches or longer.
There we go. We could set that up.
Yep, you and Cheeto at the lagoon or Paris, someplace. It should be soon though. When the water clears up, it's gonna go be on fire, man.
Oh yeah. You guys got a lot of rain down there?
Not recently, but we're getting a lot of mud, man.
Mm. Yeah.
I don't even want to go out right now.
The lakes up here in like near San Jose, they're all
Chocolate
blown
milk.
out. Yeah, all blown out. Yeah.
Yeah, debris and chocolate milk, man. That's never fun to fish in. But I do want to go out. I think I ordered 3 or 4 spinner, half-ounce spinner baits after I saw Zach just whoop me.
Nice.
I didn't buy his brand. He bought the 6 cents half-ounce baits. I decided to go cheaper. There was a sale, a spring sale at Tackle Warehouse. And I'm not sponsored by Tackle Warehouse, but let me see what I ordered. Oh, I did order the 6 cents Juggo minnow for the trailer.
Mm.
It's called the Sexified Shad 4-inch.
My spinner, I like the spinnerbait, the Jackal Dome. I think it's called it.
That sounds expensive though.
I can't remember how much they are, but there's pretty good spinnerbait.
I ordered the
Dune, I think it's called.
The DBL, whatever it's called.
Double.
Oh wait, yeah, you're right. I think it's Terminator.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a classic spinnerbait.
Yeah, Terminator. They're only like $3.73 right now. But you're throwing Jackal, right?
Yeah, that's. I mean,
is it a double?
I have a few Terminators. Yeah, it's a double willow.
Let me see how much they cost. Let me see how much they cost. I'm gonna put it by A to Z.
They got like a on the head. I'm pretty sure it has like this. I don't know. That's what you call it. It's like like gills or something. And I think it helps.
Is it called the Jackal Dune?
Yeah, Dune. Yeah, helps keep the bait down. I think a little better.
Those are fancy swim baits. There's more detail on the head.
Yeah, and the blades too. I think the blades have some.
The blades kind of look has some rigids.
Yeah.
Had some. They're not perfect.
The only thing with that one, it has a real small hook on it compared to other spinner baits.
Yeah,
but it's still no problem hooking up with those things.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I use a lot of the underspins with the 1/0 hook on it.
Yeah.
Not with like the 3/0 or 4/0.
Yeah, I like that too because then you can put the 2.8 or whatever.
Yeah.
3.2. Yeah.
And a lot of hatch, a lot of our shad, we don't got gizzard shad. We don't have big shad. So
dude, I've caught some 5-6 pounders on the little 2.8 or 3.2.
Yeah.
So
yeah. 3.3. Yep.
Yeah, 3.3. Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, let's catch up soon, man.
Sounds
One
good,
day
though.
we're gonna meet up this year. I hope it's not the West Coast because that's too long.
Yeah,
but the trip is gonna be dope.
I think I'm still got to make a trip down to there one of these days. So
yeah, if you can make it down to the lagoon, or we can go to we can go visit Max Lee and catch the 10, 9, and 9 and 8s and 7s all day.
Once you do you ever talk to Butch? Butch, doesn't he have a new boat so we can get on his boat or something? if you know Butch like that.
It wasn't. No, I mean, he at first when we met, he called me like some random times, like about technology and how to work his GoPro and how to get all his high 8 film, because dude, he's the pioneer of like recording cast to catch.
Doctor.
Yeah, he's like the cast to catch guy. He's no one. I mean, I did it, but he did it way before my time. He's an older gentleman, and he recorded on film, like actual film.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't remember
That was
anybody doing that.
like one of the first videos I've seen where he's like he has like a I don't know, it was like a 40-pound limit or yeah, 40-pound bag that he has like pulling out of his little tin boat. Like what the
Yeah.
where's this guy fishing at? What kind of pond
Yeah.
is that? What kind of pond what kind of pond is
Oh,
he
that
fishing?
tin boat? That's the pond that I fish, man.
Yeah.
I should invite you there. I want to see how you break it down because it's really small.
Yeah, I mean you gotta go fish like some suspended fish in 50 foot or something like that, right?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah. A lot of the bigger fish will suspend deeper. But damn, dude. Hurry up and get down here, man. Get better.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think I'm on the I can see the light at the end of the tunnel for this.
Well, let's make a deal. You come down for one of the local club tournaments, nothing serious, you know. And then I'll come up for one of the local tournaments, like a Yakabas tournament or something.
Sounds good to me, man. Let's
And we'll do like a trade back and forth. So you can experience some of the SoCal, I can experience some of the NorCal this
yeah,
year.
do a handshake over the phone.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Boom. Boom. All right. Have a good one, man. Enjoy your dinner tonight.
Thanks for
And
having me on, Don.
yeah, for sure. We'll catch up. Give me a call anytime.
Cool.
Peace. We're gonna end it.